we are going to be talking about the best game to grace the natural world. And before you ask what my qualifications are, I have played almost 400 hours of this game, and I go to sleep by playing the geoguessr. I've been working on this for a long time. I will simply also point out that many of the characters have names with the initials G, R, and M. The family drama of Elden Ring, like any good tale, begins with a delusional baddie. Enter America. She's the first ever on record femcel misandrist, male manipulator. She's an Empyrean, which basically means that she was chosen by the Two Fingers to be a candidate for godhood by the Greater Will. So, Two Fingers. There's two of them. They basically wriggle out messages from the Greater Will, which is like the cosmic meddling force. So they raise her to be a god. And the Greater Will also sends a star with a Brachiosaurus inside, big sparkly dinosaur, and at the same time, a large tree, magic tree, begins to grow. It's the Erd tree. Now, the Erd tree and the Greater Will are like sisters, not twins in the same eyebrow way. And the thing about the Elden Beast is he's wandering around, he's covert, he's shisty, nobody sees him though. Nobody sees him, he's big as and there's no like spotted. It just doesn't seem right to me. It just doesn't seem right. So the Elden Beast is essentially like corporeal form of order, and eventually becomes landlord of the world, tries to make everybody do things his way. No compromise. Follow his rules, and then he turns into a ring. America needs Elden Lord. She needs it bad. So she finds a big first dumb sack she can. That's Horaloo. Horaloo's just some random guy. Random guy. He's really strong. He's big. He's so horny for killing with his bare hands all the time. And then he met a bad entirety of Shrek 2 happens. We watch him get Shrek'd before our very eyes, and she Shreks him up real good until he's fit to be a lord. They go to the work barbecue, tells everybody his name's Godfrey. She's like hoping for his promotion. She's like, he's not a god yet, no. But he will be. It's my husband Godfrey. Godfrey. You know, it's like not subtle. It's classist, it's rude. Godfrey gets some knights, a black card, forms a secret club, forms an alliance with Siraj. Siraj is like beast of beasts. He's like the DJ Khaled of beasts. He hops on Godfrey's shoulders and he controls his bloodlust. Now the thing about that, Godfrey was getting his rocks off to slaughtering too much, as we've already imagined. And Siraj is kind of like his battle cage. And he used to be the Lord of the Beasts, and now he has to babysit this drunk, naked toddler who gets so that he rips his skin off with his bare hands. Now listen, they give Godfrey an axe when he's in Shrek form and tell him to behave himself, and then they do a bunch of crusades in his name. They have 3 demigod children. We have Godwyn the Golden, firstborn. 2 cursed omen twins follow. Gonna let you go ahead and guess who's the fan favorite here. America does not with the twins whatsoever. She hates their whole vibe. She locks them underground in the sewer underground the royal capital, and she tells them to kick rocks forever, by the way. And Morgoth just accepts it. He's like, my mommy was right. She's protecting me, and he wants to be better. He's like, mommy, I've changed. Mommy, I can be a bit better. So he conspires this plan to crawl out of the sewer like the rat he is and show his mom he's worth something. Moog lives the plot of Phantom of the Opera with blood instead of opera, and forms his own dynasty relationship with the formless mother. He doesn't really give a about his bio mommy, which is fine for him. He learns how to do blood showers. There's some other things that happen. He kind of has this army of like frog creatures in his bloody bog. So that's his kind of whole flow, and he's happy with it. You know, he doesn't have the same internalized ableism as his twin. And he doesn't give a about America, which is honestly the thing to be doing. Morgoth escapes and creepy crawls his way out of there to finally lick his mommy's boots. And he is like, you can't tell anybody my name though. I'm not Morgoth. I'm Margit. He just puts a cloak on and changes like a little bit of his syllables. And everybody's like, okay. Because they've never seen him before because he's been in the sewer his whole life, which is so. America's a. She loves imperialism and she loves oppressing people. And she wakes up one day and she goes, I want to do a genocide on the giants. And she does. The giants have a flame of ruin, which tree versus flame in a 1v1, it's not looking good for the tree. And she knows it. And she's so insecure and she's so scared and she's such a control freak and she's so frightened and she's so racist that they carve out, oh, she can't even leave him alone. She carves out a path. She doesn't do it. She gets her army of. She doesn't do anything herself. She sits in the passenger side. She's passenger princess in the war rig and makes everybody else do her for her. Now, America does horrible war crimes, which is also so funny that it's not funny. But later on, there's an elevator that we can use, and just the thought of them carving out this path, meanwhile, we just like get on this big thing, is really funny to me. So, America does horrible war crimes and executes them, but they got her in the end because the flame is eternal. And she knows it, but she forgot because she's so busy being racist. So she curses the last giant because she's and she's like, if this flame's gonna burn forever, someone should supervise it though, you know, like just in case. So that's his job forever. Burning the Erd tree, number one sin. You don't want to do that. And if a prophet heard like a whisper in the wind, heard like some musing in their dream, saw a cosmic blip of a burnt tree and dared to speak on it, banishment, chain around the neck, and everybody knows you're a liar. So it's not looking good. Godfrey, he's still killing. He's still killing, but there's not very many more people to kill. So by this point, he's kind of like lost his mojo, and America thinks he's a flop, and they're like not having sex really anymore. So America doesn't respect him, and she divorces him. She robs him of grace. She calls him a weenie. She says, "Get out of here, take a hike, Mike," and makes him take a really long walk with all of his friends. There's some weird like promises and passive aggressive threats, but in general, he's just like a sad sack again. So she doesn't really care about him. Other side of the map, we have a champion, Radagon, who was born big and a ginger, and everybody, when they talk about him, will not stop talking about the fact that he's a ginger. So it's fair to say that he's the similarities between him and the giants because he's also racist. He's killing it war wise, just so we're clear, until he meets like a alt unique hat wearing zodiac cannon using projectile lobbing bad bad astrologer Queen Renala, and she's so zodiac pilled, she's full moon cannon, and there's no victory for anyone because they're like there's something brewing in their hearts, and then they engage in enemies to lovers trope. There's no victor except for there are three beautiful children who are conceived in the throes of their passionate and sordid honeymoon phase, which is canon to me. So we have Praetor Rykard, a freak pervert. He's an inquisitor of torture. He played too close to the magma when he was a child, stumbled and fell into the volcano, which I just made up, but it seems like it's true. Rykard does some snake and human, like abhorrent baby rituals. With some like techno fascist human baddie Autobots with a full beat. And honestly, really cool design if the implications weren't so severe. He snatches people. He loves snatching people, and he's having a great time doing it, by the way. Having a great time. And that's kind of where we leave his dastardly deeds for now. So he's good at war in this facet. Radon is the biggest baby in the natural world ever born, and he grows giant, and that's his whole problem. And his whole like grievance with his life is that he can't ride a horse. Okay. Alright. So instead of assessing like a realistic goal for him in his life, he decides, I'm not the problem, it's all of you. It's all of you. I'm gonna change gravity. I'm gonna change gravity. So I'm gonna get on my horse and I'm gonna ride. A horse, Leonard, by the way. Leonard is his horse. And literally any other goal except for horseback riding, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. He is paranoid about things from space coming at him. And he just decides it's better for everybody if we just put it on hold. He's like so avoidant. He's like, I'm not going to deal with that or do any sort of like exposure therapy. No more gravity. So his little baby sister, Lunar Princess Rani, and him scheme and do some sort of lunar cosmic hooliganism and meddling on that level. And one thing about Rani that you gotta know, she does not want to be a demigod at all whatsoever. She just wants us to do her errands all the time. All the time. And she hates the Golden Order. She hates the Golden Order because America's like a sociopathic, warmongering mother who ruined their family. Which, here we go. Radagon is a complete and total deadbeat and leaves Renala for America, shattering her heart, but at least he offers Renala a consolation prize in the form of an egg.
I offer you a nice egg in this trying time? Yeah, he's got an egg!
Okay. She becomes a certified hysterical woman. They lobotomize her public image. They lock her in the library. She like becomes obsessed with rebirth and inner child healing, but accidentally like manifests too close to the full moon. And 3 dozen like toddlers in medieval garb who can levitate and do telekinesis manifest in this area. So she's kind of on her Sylvia Plath and like genuinely just sad. It's sad, it's really sad. Radagon doesn't give a at all. It's actually so
This dude did not check on me once during this whole thing.
Twisted, doesn't check on her, does it got an egg, thank God, right? But he like hates his ex-wife so bad and doesn't even understand the magnitude of the like sorceries that he's just used and will not utilize them because he hates his ex-wife so bad. So instead, he switches strictly to an incamp build instead of splitting his stats. Loser. One thing you gotta know about Radagon is he's a flop and it shows. He has poor communication skills. Leaves Renala because he decides that she isn't out of nowhere, by the way. And also has no dialogue. Like Ginger Mime Riz clowning around in Clown Town. So, Radagon America. Here's the biggest gag of the century. Radagon is America. Now listen. There are implications, and they are severe. What I wrote in my notes is Radagon is like having an evil cowboy living inside of you. Now I'm going to let you decipher what you think that means. I know what it means to me. So they have 2 children, both Empyreans, and they're cursed because of one body incest, which is fair enough. Melania and Mikola. And Mikola is cursed with eternal youth in the Renesmee way, not the Edward way. And he loves the government, but wants to do it his own way. So he creates the Halleck tree with the sapling of a minor Erd tree, a baby Erd tree. And he waters it with his blood because he wants to grow up and live a normal life. And he learns metallurgy and welding, and creates his own circus, loves purity, loves order. Okay. He also like wants to be able to make sure that no one's able to puppet his sister Melania from afar, so he makes her some armor and tries to heal her leaky gut biome because Melania's rotten to. There's a few other Empyreans that we need to talk about. One, America has such serious and severe beef with, because she's so insecure, is the Glomide Queen. You don't need to know much, like too much about her, except that she makes America so insecure. She makes America so insecure that America decides that there's a possibility that someone else might be in charge one day. No one should be able to die. Okay. She makes dying impossible, snatches the ability from the Elden Ring, destined death, plucked from the Elden Ring, from its very throes, as we know it, is removed, and in response, given to her shadowbound beast when she's dark woke.
Whose horse is that?
Malekith, whose name literally means death to demigods, because America does not give a rat's if her children live or die. And, okay, listen. Malekith tells everyone his name's Garunk, puts a cloak on. People just decide that that's like the primary and only mode of disguise in this game is big cloak. Now listen. He has his big cloak on. He's strong. If you accidentally aggro him, test your weapon art in the wrong place, wrong time, you will learn. And he doesn't forget, by the way. He doesn't forget. And there's a gargoyle outside. So if you've aggroed him and he's ripping up the floorboards and throwing boulders at your head and you try to get away, God forbid, Garunk and a garg place. America is getting annoyed and she's desperate. She's annoying. She's annoyed. She's desperate. She's like, Jesus Christ, someone please become Elden Lord. I can't take it anymore. Calls her kids plops, 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 plops. Hello, flops. Calls her kids flops publicly. And has to resort to us, even though she's so racist. She's like, fine, you can have some grace. You don't have to die. My children, though. It's embarrassing. And she's like, why doesn't anyone care as much as me? But it's because she's such a horrible. America at this point is getting annoying and desperate. Ronnie, this whole time, like, hates her guts, obviously. So Ronnie steals a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith and orchestrates a coup to kill Godwyn with the Black Blade imbued with destined death, and hires a bunch of like invisible assassin women to jump him, beat the shit out of him in his sleep. And Rykard's in on it. And Rykard gets like a participation trophy after, but it's basically like a trophy that you can use to like bash Malekith's head if he ever comes knocking, and is like, hey, I didn't appreciate that. So Rykard and Ronnie roll up. She tells Rykard to wait in the car but keep it running and hold the bag, and then gives him a hunk of this rock. So Malekith is pissed, obviously, seals the Rune of Destined Death in his flesh so no one can cheat him again, swallowing the key after so no one comes. Now, Ronnie accidentally does like a body offering ceremony to the Glowmide Queen, and Godwyn's soul's just like laying around. And now it's like, okay, you're both burnt, you're half blind, you hate your mom, you stuck together. So she's fed up, she suicides her corporeal form. Godwyn is now soulless body. Ronnie's soul goes into the Ronnie doll. Godwyn becomes the first demigod ever on record to die. And Ronnie locks the leader of the Black Knife Assassins in an underground ghost jail, specifically to kick our ass later if we ever come knocking, which, fine. Okay. So America becomes the Joker, and Mr. Game & Watch 9 hammers the titular ring with her hammer and shatters it as the main event. Shards everywhere. Demigods have got to go get their bits and their runes and whatever. America gives Radagon little brother controls on the body when they're in shattering mode, but generally lets him solo when they're killing. So this is a little bit of a different dynamic. Radagon's confused, he's betrayed, he's lost, his heart has run amok, and he loves the government. So he tries and fails to repair the Elden Ring, and now they're both locked in jail because America stashed the gun in Radagon's purse. And it's like, fine. Cursed. Elden Beast is like, cannot believe the magnitude of the disrespect. They're cursed with 5,000 years of war. Now the girls, they're fighting. There's runes. There's things that are happening, right? There's some distant cousin going on with some genuinely horrifying, like, Cronenberg creatures created. So Godefroy the Grafted, Godric the Grafted, both are relevant here. And the way you can remember them is Godefroy is the doctor from Human Centipede, the original one, and Godric the Grafted is the little freak pervert in the third movie who copies his whole flow word for word, bar for bar.
He copied my whole flow! Word for word, bar for bar!
Godefroy gets trapped in ghost jail. Godric gets put in quick drag to get away undetected. Margit fights Radahn. A couple other things happen. Rykard finds this whole thing debasing. He hates a classroom pizza party size shard. He wants a little bit more. He's got to do. Everyone's squabbling. He's like, I kind of got this whole thing like with the snakes that I like, and it's fine. There's like a lot of cannibalism that happens, but he's got BPD from his mom, and so he like already has an abandonment complex. He already knows that it's coming, so he's fine. He's like, well, you guys are just gonna leave me anyway, so I'm just gonna do my thing. And then the Golden Order is like, it's pretty gross, so they abandon him, and he's like, told you guys you were gonna leave me. I told you.
She doesn't work here anymore. She's a poisonous little viper, and I don't allow people to have an attitude in my restaurant.
So there's a bunch of dishonorable things happen. He commits the sin of blasphemy, and everybody's let in on it. He feeds himself to the god-devouring serpent, and I'll give you one clue what happens next. He hates authority. He hates authority, but he doesn't even care. Honestly, he's doing his thing. He's in charge. He bagged a foreign baddie. She's a dancer overseas. Tanith is on some ride or die divorce. She 100% matched his freak, like more than anybody. So he's got human slaughter machines. He's got it covered. In my notes, I said he's kind of like Drake, and I honestly can't explain what that could possibly mean, but I'm just going to leave it there. Tanith engages in cannibalism as a metaphor for love, and the final scene of Bones and All plays out. I can't even talk about it. I can't even talk about that movie because I care too much, so I'm just going to let that simmer. And that plays out. Rykard lures shisty warriors with loose morals, and then his belly gets really big because he eats too many champions. Now, Godric uses the fact that everybody is distracted by these horrors to seize Stormvale Castle on his own. Now, everybody is always calling him a runt with diluted blood, and he's like, oh, my life's such a burden because I'm the last of the lineage, but he's like not even really royal at all, and he certainly doesn't act it, and everyone calls him grotesque, and they're right. He's a weasel. He snatches and attaches and lies. He's a liar. He's a liar. He lies about everything constantly, and like easily verifiable lies, by the way. He calls his dragon ancient and mighty, and everybody knows it's not. And Kenneth Haidt says he's nothing more than a jumped up country bumpkin. Got his ass. He said he cross-dressed among women to flee like a coward. So Godric does drag in a veil and a blouse and a fucking cloak like everybody else, even though he looks up. And everyone calls him a tattletale little rat. He insults Melania. She claps his cheeks. He becomes obsessed with her prosthetic. Then she goes on a war path and flutters her ass all the way to Caelid to fight Radahn. He's huge, and his weapons are basically just like enormous slabs of concrete and large, rusty projectiles. So it's not looking good for her because she's blind and small. So she resorts to biological terrorism, and she's so busy doing her hair and turning her body into like a Dyson Airwrap and disseminating biologically detrimental spores that she forgot she has a fucking babysit. So Moog takes advantage of it, and he hears a rumor, word on the street that Miquella could be Jesus Christ or the likes. Kidnaps him in his sleep. Okay. Cuts him out of the tree. Wants to raise him to bond with his captor and become a god. And then they need to rule together. You know, Moog can't do it alone. He needs help. But Miquella won't wake the up. So Moog puts a ring on a dead hoe, hoping it'll kind of like reignite some flame. But I don't want you to feel too sorry for Miquella because there's like non-consensual stuff going on in both directions. It's like bad boundaries, bad communication, whatever. Miquella is like a manipulative little skeeve. So he has an alter ego too. Saint Trina. Non-binary hypnotist. Everybody loves Saint Trina though. Loves her work. Obsessed. Trina's like Bigfoot, and people can't decide what they see, what gender they see, if she's alive or dead, and she manipulates people in like a genderless, narcoleptic way. So we touch this crusty cocoon, and then we're transported to a graveyard in what I can only imagine is the same experience as Santa in The Nightmare Before Christmas, tumbling into Halloween Town. Meanwhile, Melania and Radahn are tangoing in the rotten bog, and Radahn becomes so deranged because she infects him with prion disease, and then he becomes hungry as fuck, mean and big, and Melania passes out from the sheer centrifugal force of her many waterfall dances. And then she's carried over multiple domains and dropped at the doorstep of the Halig tree, which causes it to rot. And that is basically Elden Ring. Little side note on the Glow-Eyed Queen before we wrap it up. It's reasonable to assume that it's Melina. She was born at the foot of the Erd tree. It says her mom's in the Erd tree, and I don't know how many they got up in that tree, but it's probably fair to assume it's Marika. Now, they Joan of Arc her ass. They Joan of Arc so good, but she comes back in spirit form looking like Fetty Wap, gives us a horse for our quest, and tries to push us in the direction of pyromania and mass destruction, which is yet another reason to believe that all of Marika's family hates her, and for a good reason. So, all the tea, or my interpretation of all of this information, and it was a lot of work. So, if you found it funny or entertaining, or if you have any comments or questions, um, let me know. If you have any reason to assume that I'm wrong, I would implore you to not tell me that. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for laughing. If you laughed, thank you for not laughing at me if you didn't. And let me know if you want some more Elden Ring content, because I just love this game. I love this game. I love this crazy, stupid life. And I love you. So, thank you for watching.